Yeah. What up? It's your man DDR coming to you from the Daily Grind 365. And I got a hot topic to discuss with y'all today. Of course, most of y'all probably already heard that your boy Safaree had got jacked. I don't know if he said if it was by two or three people. Initially, it sounded like he said like it was two people, but then from what I got from the Angie Martinez interview, it was three people. All right, so let's go in, man. First thing I want to talk about is the fact that your man Safari pulled up to the show and he was crying. You know what I mean?
Are you okay?
Um, I just
Oh man.
I just got robbed.
Um, you know, I'm gonna be real with you, as a man and stuff like that, as a grown man, my heart do go out to him. It ain't nothing like having a gun put in your face and thinking that your life is coming to an end. Or to think that your life is coming to an end in any situation is definitely a traumatic experience if you value your life to any extent. So I can definitely understand his tears. Personally, I've never cried in that situation, but I've been in multiple life and death situations over the years, including having guns pulled out on me. Now, at the time when it happened, I was a much younger man, and my mortality didn't completely set in on me. But I truly understand, and I have different things to live for now. So I would actually understand that emotion from this perspective more than I did from my younger perspective. If that make any sense. I did want to touch base on a few things though, because I know a lot of people are talking, and there's definitely a big thing about him and his involvement or getting the police involved with the whole situation. And I want to talk to y'all about that. I wanted to see what y'all thought. You know what I'm saying? Because in our culture, we frown upon people who utilize the services of police officers.
He the fucking snitch. From this day on, he ain't nothing to me.
But it seems like there's a divide now. Growing up, it was.
Fuck the police coming straight from the underground. A young nigga got it bad cause I'm brown.
But when you get older, you start to realize certain things. Like, the police is necessary to a certain extent.
Hi, we got a call of a burglary here. Yeah, that was about an hour ago.
Whoa, we didn't ask you that.
Yeah, well, I told you.
Which reminds me, we need to figure out a better way of dealing with police other than saying F the police. Now, I know a lot of us be getting violated, and that's the reason why we go out and we act the way we do. But if you conduct yourself in a respectable way, you'll command that same respect.
Besides, I don't like having my son out here in the cold.
I remember that 60 seconds or 60 minutes, whatever the fuck the show is called. I remember the interview that they did with Cameron some years back, and they asked him,
If there's a serial killer living next door to you, though, and you know that person is, killing people, would you be a snitch if you called police and told them?
If I knew the serial killer was living next door to me,
and your man Cameron, he responded,
I'd probably move. Like, I'm not gonna be around because I don't need to be living around serial killers.
You think you tough? You think you tough, huh? Oh. You're scared now, huh? I like that. That's why I took this job. I hate little motherfuckers like you.
and it's like he had took the no snitching rule overboard because, like I said, once again, as a father, even as a person that come from the community, when you realize that there's people in that community or that neighborhood that you care about, and you know that there's another person living next door to you, and he's harming people in that community. You grew up, you spent your whole entire life there. There's older people, there's children, there's your peers, and all of that, and you care for them. You're not gonna just move, right? I mean, unless you're a completely selfish person. Now, some people are like that. I'm completely different, though. If I see that somebody that I love is in danger, I'm the type of person that'll jump in front of a bullet, or I'll go out my way to harm another person that's trying to do harm to somebody that I care about. But not a lot of us are like that. A lot of us are in tune with just ourselves and self-preservation. So, which brings me back to my next point. When you look at Safari crying there, a lot of people felt like he wasn't a man because he came to the show crying, or because he was crying because of the traumatic experience that he had just went through. Now, what you don't understand is when you're dealing with a traumatic experience, and the key word being trauma, when something affects you to the extreme that you cannot stop thinking about it, or that every time you close your eyes or every time you're around certain things, it triggers that feeling. That's called a traumatic experience. He could hear a door slam shut, and that'll sound to him like bullets going off. You cannot tell another person how they are to feel about moments in their life that impacted them in certain ways. There's a lot of people who went overseas who fought for this country's freedom, who went out there, tough guys. And I'm telling you, there's guys that still wake up in cold sweats from things that they did overseas.
Baby, it's me. It's all right.
There's guys that still cry over things that they did, experiences that they had, losing friends and loved ones and things of that nature. So once again, you cannot tell somebody what is a traumatic experience. Now, what I will say is we need to carefully monitor ourselves and be socially responsible, because the things that you say out your mouth invites a certain type of attention to you.
Me, you get two with the same damn nine. I hit you and hit you in the same damn crime.
I just got robbed.
I just had a phone call with my brother earlier. He was telling me about my video. We was talking about the Tekashi thing and all that. I'm not even going to get into him. But, you know, one thing we talked about is that what you put out there into the universe is ultimately what comes back to you and the people around you sometimes. So, to Safaree, my condolences go out to your uncle, man. You know, I can understand that's also a traumatic experience in itself. My condolences go out to you for the experience that you had earlier. But my man, you gotta realize that you're bringing this upon yourself. Yo, as usual, I want y'all to leave y'all comments and let me know what you think. It's your boy, DDR, aka Des the Realist, and you've been listening to Daily Grind 365 Radio. Holla at your boy.
Gotta watch out the streets for your foes. They thought it was over. They killing